Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is on assignment. Dr. Cavil is on the road. Guess where I get to go this week? Where I am now. I'm in Puerto Rico, San Juan, with a research dean conference. Taking care of business, as they would say, but it is Puerto Rico. So finding a way to get it done. So you have me on the road again in terms of what that looks like. Let me welcome you appropriately. Welcome to episode 724 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, and facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. Along with my co-host today is Charles Bishop and AD Drew, as well as Wilton Jackson II. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live, KCWH 1230 AM studios at the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. So I'm here with what they call a cadre. It's Research 1, Research 2, as well as AAUP components of deans that do heavy levels of research in the field of education, just talking about the landscape and finding ways to partner with one another and do things that we can do to continue to create educators in those subsidiary fields to the nation. So good thing as we're putting in the work, find a way, but still wanted to make sure we give you a show. That being said, let's bring everybody on the stage, if you would, because we certainly have folks that have things to say. Today is our mid-majors show where we go a deep dive into the mid-majors, release the top 7 of the mid-major poll rankings, talking about some of those games. Obviously, it would take Will Wallace to make sure that people notice. He released on Sunday that JSU is certainly on top. Good job, Will. Right. Hello from Daytona Beach. In terms of that, thank you for spreading the love. So it's not just JSU. Checking from Monroe, Louisiana. Yeah, I love my HBCU, 779577. I thought the area codes were 5. That's throwing me off a little bit. I got to figure that code out. Adam Spencer says, Doc, good at everything. Go Pirates. I like that. Go ahead, represent Hampton over there as our independents are in the house. With that being said, without further ado, let me talk with these gentlemen here. Charles Bishop, how are you doing today? Have you recovered?
Barely.
Yeah, y'all don't know. He look live now. He look good. When he came up to the show, he had that look. That's what he just came up.
A time was had in Jackson, Mississippi this weekend. So I have to admit that.
Yeah, I mean, normally y'all get it in for the big game, as I call it, the game of the century. Now y'all understand that there's a reason why they call me the dean of HBCU sports. It's all right to listen to the dean. But with that being said, they certainly made it memorable in the fact that Jackson State came on top. Those folks out there certainly had a right to make sure they stick out their chest and have some fun. Good love, good experience, good HBCU competition, represented really well, national stage, good stuff. With that being said, let me go to AD Drew, putting in work, homecoming week, so I know he is full of business. So the fact that he found a way to make sure we had some time to get the show in, I certainly want to give him additional appreciation is they have him working. I wouldn't say overtime. I think it's double time, triple time. I don't know what you call it in these parts.
You have to get paid by. You have to get paid by the hour to qualify for overtime, Dr. Cavil. So, when the jobs that we do, my check the same whether I work 1 hour or whether I work 100 hours. So that's a good
I
bad
know
thing.
one thing, they're gonna make sure you don't work 1 hour.
and hey fellas, don't tell nobody. I'm actually on a Zoom call right now on my other computer. So
we won't tell anybody. Everybody else might tell everybody, but we won't tell.
But I'm in listen only mode.
Go ahead.
I'm just in listen only mode, so I'm actually not an active participant. But
part
of my job, I have to monitor things when it comes to athletic communication. So I'm listening to my coaches and other people communicate right now.
And then we got people like Wilton Jackson, the second coming in. He's on the clock. He's literally on the road. I guess now you can say he's in the hotel, but you can see he's set up. He can't even get into the hotel room yet. He's putting in a little work as he's doing what he's doing, covering some basketball. We won't even name the conference because they get enough of the shine. But Wilton Jackson, second, is giving us some love on the HBCU side. Welcome to the show back again, Wilton. Putting in that work. With that being said, today's episode of Inside the HBCU.
Doc,
go ahead.
Before you go, I gotta put this one on the screen, Doc.
Put it up there. The Tallahassee PD has issued an arrest warrant for Cozy, a first-degree coaching fraud, impersonating the head coach. Oh
wow!
Now that's just
only in the social media world can they get that creative.
Just low down.
And we don't even usually get that low. But Amy Drew pulled it out there, and I must say,
it's a good one.
It was a good one, Lennon.
That's great.
Very creative, Lennon. But I'd be careful. You are a fan of Norfolk State. And the only thing I say about Lennon, he will talk about his own too, though.
I'm sorry, Doc. I had to cut you off for that. I'm sorry.
I get it. That was an appropriate one too. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THE Agency, LLC. THE Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. Like I tell my students, if you're going to interrupt my conversation, you better bring something to the table. So not a problem. That's what it's open for, open discourse. Let me go to you, Charles. What's on your mind for HBCU news of the week?
Yeah, so it's Tuesday mid-major. So let's start off with the SIAC weekly honors as we take a look at Brinley Vandiver from Miles, Darian Bell from Savannah State, Israel Wakacha from Benedict, Jackson Williams from Benedict, and Zach Underwood from Morehouse were all recognized. Let's take a look at their accomplishments. As Offensive Player of the Week was Brinley Vandiver from Miles College. He won 19 of 27 for 257 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Miles, they earned their first win of the season over Lane. So congratulations, Mr. Vandiver. Co-Defensive Player of the Week is Darian Bell from Savannah State University. Doc, get this stat line. Bell finished with a game-high 23 tackles. 23 tackles, including 1 tackle for a loss, 2 pass breakups, and the game-clinching fumble recovery in overtime as Savannah State knocked off Allen 23-20. His other Defensive Player of the Week was Israel Wakacha from Benedict College. He led Benedict's defense that held Fort Valley to just 2 first downs in the second half of the Tigers' 14-7 win. The Tigers' defense, he led the Tigers' defense with 10 tackles, including 3.5 tackles for a loss and 2.5 sacks, as well as 1 quarterback hurry. And after the Wildcats had a 9-play, 93-yard scoring drive in the second quarter, they never advanced into Benedict territory for the remainder of the game. So big shout-outs to Benedict defense. Special Teams Player of the Week was Jackson Williams, also from Benedict College. He continues to be one of the most electrifying kickoff specialists in the country against Fort Valley. He returned the opening kickoff 88 yards for a touchdown, his second kickoff return for a score this season. He had 2 returns for 112 yards against Fort Valley. In addition, he had 2 receptions for 44 yards, including a 29-yard touchdown reception. And the newcomer of the week is linebacker from Morehouse College, Zach Underwood. Underwood was the most disruptive defender on the field, creating takeaways and negative plays that directly shaped the outcome in a one-score game. He anchored a front that produced 4 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, and a defensive score. His consistent pressure collapsed the pocket and flipped field position. So kudos to Zach Underwood being the SIAC newcomer of the week.
9 tackles, two and a half sacks, and another tackle for loss, and a forced fumble. Was his
Mike was saying the poor tree and the pear tree.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And Charles says it too. Let me go to you, Drew. What's on your mind?
I should sneak in about Morehouse, and we don't talk about cross country too much, but I'm not gonna sneak in that we have a runner, Brian Kimbe, who has won the SIAC Runner of the Week award 4 out of the last 5 weeks, and I'm not gonna tell y'all the only reason he didn't win it 5 out of 5 is because he didn't run 1 week, because he had to take a test and his teacher wouldn't let him out of a test. What I am going to talk about is Commissioner Sonia Steele of the MEAC and other notable honorees recognized as Nike Executive of the Year Award recipient. Some of these awardees included Jennifer Cohen of Southern Cal, Kimberly Davis of the National Hockey League, Alberta Lee of the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, Sonia Steele, our beloved MEAC commissioner, and Jackie McWilliams Parker, commissioner of the CIAA, along with Jacqueline Schumann, director of athletics at UMass, Julie Human, founder of Angels City FC, and the Nike Lifetime Achievement Award go to Jane Miller, who had a 35-year career at the University of Virginia. And the last person, Cheryl Levick, was a 3-time NCAA Division I athletic director, Santa Clara, at St. Louis, and at Georgia State. So the fact that we have our 2 female commissioners among all these people who have done some other things also, I think is worth noting.
Great note. Good information. With that being said, Wilton Jackson II, what direction are you going for the news of the day?
So I'm going to get into some of the CIAA players of the week. One of the first players was quarterback Bryce Kuntz from Bluefield State. He led the Big Blue to a thrilling 30-27 victory over Lincoln, PA, showcasing precision and poise under pressure. Kuntz threw for 308 yards and accounted for 4 touchdowns, including 3 in the first half, keeping Bluefield in control throughout the contest. Next was Curtis Allen from Virginia Union, who we all have talked about a lot throughout this season already. Curtis Allen continued his record-breaking season with 185 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in Virginia Union's 37-18 victory over Elizabeth City State. Allen remains the nation's leading rusher across all NCAA divisions 1, 2, and 3, averaging 195 yards per game. Also from Bluefield State, you had Brandon Wiley. He was a key difference maker in Bluefield State's 30-27 win over Lincoln, PA, scoring all 4 of the team's touchdowns. Matthias Nelson from Virginia Union was one of their offensive linemen. Anchored Virginia Union's offensive line in an outstanding performance against Elizabeth City State. The Panthers racked up 418 total yards, including 238 on the ground and then 180 through the air, while allowing 0 sacks on quarterback RJ Rosales. Defensive lineman Kenyon Gardner from Livingstone was a dominant force on the line for them. He finished with 7 total tackles, including 6 solo stops, while wreaking havoc at the line of scrimmage for 5.5 tackles for a loss and 2.5 sacks. From Winston-Salem State, Jamison Austin, a linebacker, recorded 16 total tackles, 13 solo, 3 assisted, and 3 tackles for a loss. He also forced a fumble that led to a scooping score for the Rams, anchoring the defense and providing a dominant presence against a tough opponent. Then you have Keyshawn Monk from Fayetteville State, defensive back, made a significant impact in Fayetteville State's secondary, showcasing his instincts, athleticism, and playmaking ability. He recorded 6 total tackles, including 3 solo stops, and intercepted a key pass that halted the opponent's momentum at a critical point in the game. And then from a special team standpoint, you had Brady Myers from Virginia Union, reached a career milestone by making his 200th career PAT and Virginia Union's 37-18 victory over Elizabeth City State. And Rookie of the Week from Shaw, Fabian Diggs, a freshman running back, played a key role in the Bears' thrilling 20-13 comeback win against Winston-Salem State. He ran the ball 19 times for 70 yards, averaging a solid 3.7 yards per carry, while also contributing 3 receptions for 19 yards out of the backfield.
Good stuff. Great update, Wilton. CIAA, some love going in your direction. Drew, I know you wanted to give acknowledgement of a colleague of ours that was part of the HBCU Pro Sports Media that we come to know, and he is now an ancestor. So I wanted you to go ahead and acknowledge that.
Yeah, somber news goes out as we found out. I think I may have actually heard about it on yesterday, but a colleague of ours, Fred Whitted, known as the Black College Encyclopedia, passed away last week. I think services will be this week for him, but yeah, Fred, I think services are actually Friday in, I believe, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I know Steve is in the chat if he could help me out with that. But Doc, you've done a great job writing some books, but also people may not recognize Fred's name. Fred has wrote some books out there for the HBCU experience, and I believe he had just released a book. I know we had been working on a book for the last couple of years. So he's wrote one for called Fayetteville, and there's he worked at Black Heritage Review also is where he worked at. So go out there if you could Google and find a book by Fred Whitted, go and buy it, so his family could get the royalties and everything else out of it. I think that just is a great way to honor somebody who has contributed so much and was such a wealth of knowledge for us on those Zoom calls that we used to have about once a month, Dr. Cavil.
Exactly. Very appropriate to support him as an ancestor and his family. And plus, he just had HBCU news and history. So anytime we get a chance to collect that, we need to be on the forefront of that. I also wanted to acknowledge D'Angelo, obviously not directly related to HBCUs, but a lot of folks that were at HBCUs and pushed him and bumped him certainly understand. Obviously, had a child with Angela Stone that recently passed, so a lot of prayers to that family in terms of the tragedy surrounding that individual that now has to grow up without either family member, mom and dad, in terms of what that. And then you learn the news of pancreatic cancer, so it's an opportunity for us to talk about Black men making sure you go get checked as early and see what's necessarily to fight whatever it takes to stay around, stay amongst us, such that you can transition to elders, and then at the appropriate time, whenever you are called to become ancestors. But we do say Ashe for both those individuals. Let's take a moment of silence, take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. With that, do you have a last comment before we take the break, Drew?
I was going to say a member of the Winston-Salem family, Steve reminds us that he was a Winston-Salem grad.
Shout out. And while we're taking a moment of silence, we know, folks, in terms of homecoming changes, and there's been a lot of tragedy around that. We certainly want to make sure we acknowledge and pray for those families and those individuals that have taken untimely demise. Let's take our first break, come back on the other side. Let's look what the top 7 teams did at the mid-major level and see what these gentlemen think about it as well. We'll take our first break, come back on the other side.
Keep going for just a second, Doc. I've got to freeze up over here. If you can hold it for like another minute.
We certainly can. As you see, I was sneaking in there, putting a little bit. You can probably see that. That's the emblem for the cadre in terms of what's going on there. Conference here as we are taking care of business. Great speakers, a lot of changes. They talked to us about the federal funding, a lot of changes you imagine because of the current situation. at the federal level in terms of grants. You're talking about millions of dollars of grants. You know, obviously you're going through the furlough right now and how that's challenging. But during the process, that has affected higher education. And there was discussion on HBCU nightly in terms of investing in athletics. And as somebody that has done research on sports, athletics, certainly think you can invest in whatever area is necessary. I certainly support investing in athletics, but I do want the proper information out there, and I think people don't understand. The real money is in academics. It just it goes deeper in terms of grants, and because people do not necessarily share that information, we don't think about it. Athletics is front facing, and so it's no secret that there is a lot of money. Obviously, you had a conversation with the Big Ten. It looks like they're talking about getting into the equity. You heard that prior, the first conference that kind of talked about that to some degree is the Big 12. But as you go further into it, it looks like you're talking about maybe $1 multi-billion-dollar Big Ten, which would be amazing in terms of what that looks like. And obviously, you're talking about the gap. Another way to further expand that gap. But I did want to kind of share, now that I have this opportunity to kind of skin this a little bit in terms of what that looks like. With that being said, we're ready to take our first break.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and take that first break, come back on the side. We'll get in the top 7 and see how they look. Charles, Wilton, Drew. We'll be right back after this first break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural taste, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As Mike Washington is on assignment, we have Wilton Jackson II and A.D. Drew. Let's get into the scores of the mid-major and give you some updates on what's taking place. The cream is rising to the top. We still do have a team that is solid at the top. It's probably surprising some folks. As we get later in the show, we'll get a chance to maybe get some matchups that took place. This is week 5. This is last week's rankings, where Benedict, for the second week in a row at that time, remained at number 1. Continue to get done, but they have won this past week, so they improved, as you see, to 6-5. You had Edward Waters that was at 2, but they were at the top, starting at the bottom with number 7. You have Livingston Blue Bears, number 6. Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. They had a big matchup, 2 versus 6. Number 5, Albany State Golden Rams. They're moving around. And number 4, Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls. And number 3, Virginia Union Panthers. At number 2, Edward Waters Tigers. And again, number 1, Benedict Titans. Let's get into those scores this past weekend and see what it looks like. Scores week 4, top 7. It's not like we got a little sound in the background, but we'll make it work. At number 1, we have 38. The Benedict Tigers winning that matchup 38-24 in terms of what they looked at last week. Let's go to number 2 in terms of the rankings there. Doing some changes there. Looks like I didn't get a chance to do those rankings, so let's just talk about some of the scores that took place in terms of the updates here. We can take that down and get back to it in terms of what took place here as I give you these updates. Let's look at the CIAA first in terms of the scores that took place across CIAA football, what that looks like for this past weekend, as you still see solid teams getting it done in terms of Virginia Union, Johnson C. Smith, all making statements in terms of big wins. Shout out to Stephen Gaither with his Winston-Salem State. They're struggling a little bit there, Charles, in terms of what's going on there. Let me get those updates talking about Winston-Salem State. They fall to Shaw 2013. There was a little bit of an upset there. Virginia Union continues to show that they should be at the top of the conference. They defeated Elizabeth City State 37-18. Virginia State wins over Bowie State 28-21. In terms of that matchup, as Virginia State goes on the road to get that victory. You have Lincoln, PA, falling to Bluefield State. Bluefield State quietly has won 2 in a row, Wilton. They win 30-27. Good contest there. They get it done at home. You have Livingston going on the road to Fayetteville State. Charles told us early, be careful about burying Fayetteville State. Well, guess what? They're rolling now. As they get into conference play, they know what to do. They won 38-14 over Livingston. This is the Livingston Blue Bears that we kind of expected stuff in the season. They've kind of been up and down, but Fayetteville State, the Broncos said, not so fast. We're going to let you know how it gets done. So with that being said, in terms of the CIAA side, let's go to the SIAC, talk a little bit about what they did this past weekend in terms of their matchups. So what that looks like in terms of some games going over there. You start out with Morehouse over Central State. Morehouse wins 31-26. That's 2 in a row for Morehouse. Maroon Tigers, a lot of folks were digging up the graves and burying the Tigers. Tigers said, we still want to play a little football. So shaping up that Clark Atlanta Morehouse game at the end of the season, they have been a little more intriguing than we thought. I know we're in front of our skis, but let's get on to this week. Clark Atlanta falls to Albany State 32-7. Not quite the same Clark Atlanta Panthers that we saw last year. Having some trouble this year. We'll see how they finish up the season. But shout out to Albany State. Golden Rams are looking really good. That being said, Benedict, 14-7 over Fort Valley State. Donnybrook, in terms of defensive contests, but at this time of the year, what counts is can you get the W and put it in the column? You talk about everything else the following week. Speaking of that, we had our top 7 matchup. I love this one. This was the one I had my eyes on. Got a chance to watch this on the SIC Sports Network. And Kentucky State, it kind of went back early as they exchanged scores 7-7, 14-14. But after that, particularly in the second half, Kentucky State Thoroughbreds at home pulls away and wins big, 42-14. Miles over Lane. Miles said, while we may not be playing well, we always going to find a way to get it done against Lane. And they showed that was true. 23-13 in that matchup. Savannah State gets it done against Allen. Allen was sneaking around the chicken coop. Savannah State said, slow down, let's move fast. We are Tigers. They win 23-20. Those are scores across the run, including our top 7 teams that we just talked about. So I wanted to kind of go over that. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles, first. What score stood out to you this week and why?
Kentucky State hammering Edward Waters. That's the one that jumps out for me. When I saw the score, I would have thought Edward Waters would have maybe put some points up against Kentucky State. That's a big win. They stay 3-0 in the conference record, so that's huge. And then I mentioned Fayetteville State. They just keep chugging along. Another win over Livingstone this past week. So those were the games I think that kind of stood out for me this past week.
Every time you want to put down Fayetteville State, they will make you look bad. They were like, don't do that. Don't do that. We know a little bit about football. We may not have been able to do the final championship, but to think that we can't play football around these parts in North Carolina, you'd be sadly mistaken. Shout out to Fayetteville State getting off the mat, getting it done. With that being said, let me go to you, Wilton Jackson, the second. What are your thoughts in terms of those scores of this week, particularly looking at the top 7? Where are you with any of those games on your mind?
I think for me, Charles just kind of hit on it, that Fayetteville State and Livingstone game. That was one I had circled. We obviously had seen Livingstone kind of within like the top 7, top 10 over the last couple of weeks. But Fayetteville State, I feel like made a statement in getting this win in the way that they got it. If I'm not mistaken, the defense had obviously like 7 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, a lot of different multiple forced turnovers. So Fayetteville State's defense came to play. So I really liked that performance that they had against Livingstone. I also didn't expect Winston-Salem State to lose to Shaw. That was kind of a head scratcher for me. I know Winston-Salem State was, not necessarily playing exactly how they wanted to, but I didn't expect them to lose to Shaw.
Yeah, good call with the Winston-Salem State. They got folks out here not feeling happy about Winston-Salem. They talking about the ledge over there at the mid-major level. Charles, they barring your ledge talk. They said we need something over here. AD Drew, where are you in terms of the scores at the mid-major level? What stood out to you?
Here we go back to that July bingo card. Let me know which one of y'all, and I know y'all not the D2 experts on here, but y'all still follow D2 enough. Which one of y'all had Bluefield State?
No, sir.
And Morehouse?
No, sir.
Not only winning 2 games in a row, but winning 2 games consecutive at the same time.
All right.
Nobody.
No, sir.
I had to check for a full moon on
that.
Let's start off with that. Yeah.
I'd have been taking you over to Frenchies. I would have owed you Frenchies.
now, here's the thing. Bluefield State, they're 500. They're 3-3, everybody. Don't sleep on that. Bluefield State, last 2 games, they've won by 2 points and 3 points. Morehouse won their last 2 games by 4 points and 5 points. Wow. So just let you know how competitive these games have been, and it's good to see that these teams have finally figured out how to get over the top. When if for so long they have lost those close 1-score games when they have when they've been in it. That's why I bring that up. Can't mention Bluefield State and Morehouse without mentioning Livingstone. Yeah, Livingstone. Y'all back to being Livingstone. Possibly. They played Fayetteville State. We gonna give them a pass on it. We gonna see if that was just the fact that they ran up against one of the better teams traditionally in the CIAA, or they have regressed back to the mean. Speaking about regressing back to the mean, sorry, Steve, I'm not gonna get on you today. You can have them on my school on your show, and they well deserve it. But I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna give you that pleasure today to let me talk about those Rams. Now let's switch over to my conference. Let's switch over to my conference, the SIAC. The Savannah Allen game, Dr. Cavil, please note that game was in overtime, in which that key stop came in overtime. Dr. Cavil, you remember that rat poison that you were trying to give out last year?
Yep.
You know something? The rats were smart last year. They ran away from it. but they got hungry and went back and ate the smelly cheese because it looks like the rat poison is working a little bit late. It might be expired, but it still got enough potency to be able to handle those Panthers over there. Benedict, their offense has regressed back to what we saw those first 2 weeks. Remember the first 2 weeks they only scored.
Yes.
It's all defense. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did Benedict not get in that particular game that they've been able to get? They didn't get those turnovers and special teams that have led to those large scores. So if you take care of the ball against Benedict, you're going to give yourself a chance. But if you don't take care of the ball, this team will put you away real fast. What's going to be sad is Kentucky State, because of that loss to Albany State earlier this year.
Maybe on the outside looking in.
That might be the difference between them getting into the playoff, because Benedict and Kentucky State do not play heads up this year. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens, because Albany State Benedict face up in about 2 weeks. Somebody's going to be fighting with Kentucky State for the rest of the year.
Yeah, good stuff. Good breakdown as you look at it this week and how that plays out going next week. In fact, talking about that, let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side and see what the top 7 looks like for week number 5. We'll be right back after this second break.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Hello, my name is Nick Howard. I'm a wide receiver and a proud member of the Grambling State Football Tigers football team. When I and my team are visiting Las Vegas, Nevada for the HBCU Las Vegas Classic, we would love to dine at Chick-fil-A located at 9830 West Flamingo Road. I encourage you to do the same for great food and a fantastic dining experience. The owner and operator, Ron Peterson, a graduate from Prairie View A&M University will be excited to have you as a guest. Go Tigers, go Sweat, and eat more chicken.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Let's jump right into it and get into these top 7 as we will push through this third segment and see what these gentlemen have to say about the top 7 rankings for week number 5 as we continue to get moving. With number, let's look at those teams, if any dropped out. We do have one team dropping out this week. That's the Livingston Blue Bears. They fall to 3-3, 2-2. We'll talk a little bit about where they were rolling in the top 7, out of the top 7, in the top 7, out of the top 7. See if they can get a couple of games and decide which direction they want to go. We'll see what that looks like as they continue to chug along. With that being said, let's look at those top 3 receiving votes. Bluefield State, Big Blue. Gave a little love about them 2 games in a row where they're sitting at 3-3, 2-1. Moving on forward and getting it done. West Virginia State, Yellow Jackets get a win as they improve to 4-2, 3-1. But still outside of the top 7, Virginia State Trojans, as they win against Bowie State, they stay in the mix just in a shouting distance of the top 7 as they improve to 3-3 on the season, but just 1-2 in the CIAA race. Be interesting to see as they played for a championship last year. They're on the outside looking in. We'll see if anything changed for them, for the Trojans in terms of them getting going. With that being said, let's look at the top 7 at this point. At number 7, coming into the rankings, Fayetteville State Broncos. We talked about them being hot. They're 4-3 overall, but those 4 wins are in conference, so they're 4-0 in conference play. Most important, with 137 points, they were not ranked, so they do jump into the poll rankings in terms of this week. Let's look at number 6. Changes happened at number 6 this week. At number 6, we have Edgewater Tigers. They're at 4-2, 3-1. Tough loss to Kentucky State. They fall all the way from the 2 spot to number 6 because of that loss to Kentucky State. They did go on the road, kept it close for a half, but the Thoroughbreds got to stomping them hooves and running the racetracks in Kentucky. At number 5, you have those Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. They improved to 5-2, 5-1. Probably the surprise of the SIAC at this point. Under 62 points. They move up a spot after being number 6 last week after jumping back into the poll for the first time this year. They continue to move on their way up. Bringing us to number 4. At number 4, you have the Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls. You talk about a team that's winning, only lost 1 game. It was the Virginia Union, but this team quietly has gotten it done. I'm not sure if I've seen a team that is 5-1, 2-1 that nobody's really talking about. Somebody thinks highly of them, though. They gave them a first place vote as they sit at 188. They stay at number 4 at the rankings in week number 5. Bringing us to number 3. We talked about the Virginia Panthers, but they sit at the 3 spot. They are 5-1, 3-0 in the CIAA. 2 first place votes, 191 points as they get going. They stay at number 3. At number 2, Albany State Golden Rams. They push all the way up from the 5 spot. People had questions this week. They continue to win. A couple other teams win, but not as much. They jump the ledge, particularly when you think about what the SIAC did against the CIAA. They find themselves in the 2 spot, moving up 3 spots to get there. 5-1, 4-0 in conference race in the SIAC. 2 first place votes at 203 points. They were 5 last weekend as they continue to get it done on the season. Bring us to number 1. Benedict Tigers, 6-0, 5-0, 3 first place votes, 205 points. They are number 1 in week number 5 at the mid-major level, and they have been number 1 for 3 straight weeks. At this point, you should not necessarily be surprised at the Benedict. They take on all comers, find a way to get it done, whether it's special teams, particularly defense playing well, but even when they need a key player on offense, they seem to get it done. The Benedicts are back in the football business officially now. So we'll see what that looks like. Let me go to you first, Wilton. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 in week number 5?
I think the top 7 is good this week. Actually, I think it's really good. It looks very identical to mine. Fayetteville State at number 7 is good. Edward Waters at 6. Kentucky State at number 5. Johnson C. Smith at number 4. Now, I kind of got a little dicey between 2 and 3. I know some people are really, really – and I'm very high on the Albany State team too, but I still, me personally, would have put them behind Virginia Union. So I would have had Benedict, Virginia Union, and then Albany State.
We might see those 2 teams in the playoff. They go deep. They continue to win. They'll be in the mix. But there's a team called the Benedict Tigers that say play a little defense around here. You got to get past them. We'll see what this looks like. We have a couple more weeks to see what the finish is. But at this point, this is your top 7. So, Charles, what are your thoughts on the top 7 in week number 5?
You know, I was leaning Virginia Union at 2, Albany at 3, but it's kind of a coin toss between those 2 right now in terms of where they are. I think the precipitous drop for Edward Waters was the one that, of course, I caught my eye from 2 to 6. But Kentucky State, man, they put up 252 rushing yards on Edward Waters. That's well-deserved 5 spot, and I'm looking at them at 5 and 2, and it's just the monsters sitting there in front of them. Johnson C. Smith, Virginia Union, Albany State, and Benedict. I mean, they are one of the, I think, top teams, in the SIAC, but they just got teams in front of them.
Yeah, it's a good football being played there. If Albany went on the road to Virginia Union, who you take?
I'm gonna go with Curtis Allen. I gotta go Virginia Union.
On the road?
Virginia Union goes on the road to Albany State. Who you take?
I'll probably take Albany State at the crib.
Oh, Manny.
Yeah, I hear you. Drew, you just heard the thoughts from Wilton and Charles. What is direction in terms of your thoughts on the top 7, particularly how it compared to what you put as the voting member of this poll ranking in terms of your top 7?
Dr. Cavil, I thought you just took a snapshot of my ballot and just put it up here on the screen, because that was this is exactly what my ballot looked like when I turned it in. Let's see, 4 SIAC schools, 3 CIAA schools. Yeah, we got that part right. SIAC did win the season series. Just got to remind everybody about that. You could possibly make an argument for flipping Kentucky State and Johnson C. Smith, but with Johnson C. having more recent success, I can understand why Johnson C. Smith comes in at 4, whereas Kentucky State had to fight to get into this top 7, along with Edward Waters, Dr. Cavil. Keep one thing in mind about Albany State, who's sitting at that number 2 spot. Albany State has blown people out the last 2 weeks without their starting quarterback, Isaiah Knowles, who has been in concussion protocol. I believe he'll be cleared to come back this week for homecoming against Tuskegee. Expect 60 out of Albany State with Isaiah Knowles back. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was Lane and Clark, so
Charles, you brought up a good point.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The fact that you still put it up the same type of numbers with your number 2 quarterback that you put up with your number 1 quarterback. So just think about this. It was Lane, it was Clark. Just think if Isaiah Knowles would have played, what they would have done.
Yeah, point well taken.
So that's what I'm looking at. But I'm just looking forward when number 1 and number 2, hopefully they'll remain 1 and 2 after this week, go heads up at the end of the month.
Who's Kentucky State's loss in conference?
Albany State.
Okay. There we go.
Albany State, and Albany State beat them handily, but that game, midway through the 3rd quarter, it was a 1-score game. And when I say 1 score, it was like a 3 or 4 point game. And then Albany State opened up a can of whoop over like the last 20, 22 minutes of that ball game. So Kentucky State played them tough. If they were to play again, say in the championship game, I guarantee you the score was going to be a hell of a lot closer than it was. And I believe that was week 2, possibly, when they played each other.
I see
Yeah, they played them just before the Grambling game, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Boy, you talking about which was what threw a lot of people off in regards to the Kentucky State Grambling game. People were scoreboard watching, as I like to talk, not really watching the games of the teams. To your point, with it being a close contest up to the third quarter, where it really broke away in the fourth quarter, to give you some conjecture what that looks like. I'll just say this: going down the stretch in the CIAA and SIAC, it should be exciting. Got a couple of key matchups, key games. Reason to keep your eyes on the mid-majors because they're doing their things. With that being said, let's take our last break.
Can I add one thing before you jump off?
Yes.
Just one last thing. Keep in mind, the SIAC has an agreement with Conference Carolinas this year for their third place and their fourth place teams to cross over and match up with Conference Carolina's third place and fourth place teams. So with as good as Kentucky State and Edward Waters, should everything stay the same as it is right now, play out, there's a good opportunity with that extra crossover game that the SIAC could see 3 teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, particularly when you talk about the go soft down in terms of the number of teams they have. It's a perfect point to make that as we start inching closer to championships in the CIAA SIAC, seeing who's going to be in the championship game. Obviously, that means who also is going to be in Division II playoffs. Intriguing matchups to look at. In fact, let's take our last break. We'll come back on the other side and talk about not matchups looking forward, but we'll talk about matchups this next week, week 6. We'll be right back after this last break.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Mill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson II, and A.D. Drew. Let's get into some of the matchups this week. Not a lot on the line, but a couple of good ones. that I want to get these gentlemen thoughts on. With that, let's bring up the games of the week and see what we have in terms of some of those key matchups getting into it between the CIAA as they get in their conference as well as SIC as things are coming down the stretch. Key matchups in the mid-major for week number 6. Let's start with that first one moving forward. Looking at this, we have that matchup, Benedict Tigers, 6-0, 5-0. They're on the road. Edward Water Tigers are 4-2, 3-1. Tigers got the big victory early over Virginia Union. We're rolling. But they got a sniper, if you would, with Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. Well, they get a chance to make a statement at home, another one, as they face another number 1 team. Now, this is their second number 1 team of the season. Can they take down the Tigers? Charles, what are you saying in this match?
Are we going to see the Edward Waters Tigers that knocked off Virginia Union? That's a question for me. The team that put up 41 points back then. I mean, they still have one of the top passes in the league in Noah Biden, John Terrius Thomas in the top 3 in rushing in the SIAC. They also have a receiver in the top 10. So if they can get an offense on track against a team that has not been scoring lately, but they got plenty defense, it could be kind of interesting and they're playing at home. So I like that. But I still got to go with Benedict. I can't just, you know.
I think you make a great point in terms of the feature point. And obviously, you can go in the opposite direction. But Benedict Tigers defense against the Edgewater offense is something to keep your mind on. Wilton, do you agree with that, or are you looking at this differently?
No, I'm actually in agreement. I think Benedict wins this game. I do think it'll be a good game, though. I will say this: Edward Waters definitely needs this game per se. After coming off of a loss, so I definitely think that this could be a really, really strong game for them against Benedict if they could win. But I don't think they're going to win. I think this is going to go to Benedict.
Going with the number 1 ranked team. People starting to believe in Benedict. AD Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? Top 7 matchup.
As Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. And what I mean by that is you have to give Edward Waters more than a puncher's chance, especially at home with Noah Biden at quarterback. Look, it's real simple. If Edward Waters can take care of the ball, Benedict has shown when their defense does not score, when their special teams do not score, it's going to be a close competitive ball game. And I am a witness to tell you, Edward Waters can win a close game as they did against Morehouse earlier this year with the come from behind, winning in the last 2 minutes of that ball game. So, and let's also put this into perspective. Should Edward Waters lose this game, they could possibly be tied with Savannah State and, dare I say it, Morehouse? Record-wise in the SIAC.
Wow.
Who thought that in there, Drew? I like that. Let's go to the next matchup. Nobody would have thought that. That's why I'm glad you brought it up. It's a good one. Let's go to the next matchup. Number 2, Albany State Golden Rams. They take on Tuskegee Golden Tigers. Albany State Golden Rams coming in 5-1, 4-0. The Tigers are struggling at 2-4, 1-3. I don't think we have to really break this down. Anybody going against this matchup?
The question is, how long will Isaiah Knowles have to play in this game? If he has to play into the 4th quarter, then it's only because he's trying to get some work. It's only because he's trying to get some extra work in because he's been out for 2 weeks.
Let's go to the next matchup. Number 3, Virginia Union Panthers. This may not even be as good as the last one.
Curtis Allen play after halftime in this game.
Exactly. 5-1, 3-0. Lincoln Lions coming in 0-6, 0-3. Nothing else needs to be said. You kind of say it by your facial expressions. Move on to the next matchup. I told you it wasn't too much on the plate this week other than that first one. That's really the one. You have Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls, 5-1, 2-1, at Shaw Bears, 2-4, 2-2. Historically, good matchup, important matchup. Maybe not. I think this goes without saying. You going with the Golden Bulls over the Bears, everybody? Anybody?
Golden Bulls.
Yeah, Golden Bulls for sure.
Let's keep rolling.
I like a bullish economy more than I like a bearish economy.
I agree. We sure need that too. Number 5, Kentucky State takes on Franklin Pierce Ravens. I was gonna stay around here and gave me a reason to stay around here in Puerto Rico, but I do got to get back for homecoming. And they moved the game. This game is going to Kentucky State.
No,
when you talk about
it's in New Hampshire. It's in New
Hampshire,
and it's on Friday night.
New NE10, New England 10. This is the same New England 10 for those that looked at the score. They played Delaware State this time. They're taking on SIC. So I'm fascinated from that matchup. Ravens coming in 3-3, 2-2. So little middle of the pack, if you would. Good thing in terms of playoff seeding that Drew talked about a little earlier. This is a chance to make that statement. So interesting in there in terms of what it looks like. We'll kind of keep that moving in terms of that contest. With those matchups, I'm going to go around, if you would, around the horn and kind of think about your final thoughts in terms of this week. Other than that top 7 matchup with Evan Waters and Benedict, everybody else should win comfortably. Shouldn't be a lot of changes. But what stands out to you, Charles, this week in terms of the matchups coming up?
The matchups coming up, I think obviously the marquee matchup is Edward Waters. Can they pull off the upset against Benedict? The drop off of Darius Ocean has kind of been interesting to me with regards to Benedict's offense. So, to your point, Drew, I think, Edward Waters does have better than a puncher's chance to get the W down there. But, I mean, a defense is only giving up 13 points a game. It's hard to go against that.
Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of this week matchup at the mid-major level?
Sneaky good matchup that everybody needs to pay attention to is Savannah State traveling, facing Fort Valley State in Augusta, Georgia. You got a Fort Valley State who has lost a couple of close games and a Savannah State team who until last week has not shown that they can close out a close game with that overtime win against Allen. Help them close that out. So I think that's going to be a sneaky good matchup, especially with Fort Valley being back at full strength after the suspensions that they faced last week due to the incident. And over in the other conference, BSU versus BSU, I just hope that the game does not turn out to be BS. So Bowie State travels to Bluefield State. So just one you want to keep an eye out on, because should Bluefield State win this game, they keep everything in the CIAA interesting. Just waiting on somebody above them to slip up, and then we're gonna seriously be talking about Bluefield State those last 2-3 weeks of the season.
That's interesting when you think about that. Big Blue, because they want to be in the football business. Wilton Jackson II, let you close it out. What are your thoughts in terms of the mid-major coming up this week?
My sentiments reflect a lot of what Drew and Charles said, specifically with Benedict and Edward Waters. I really want to see Benedict's offense kind of get more steam as their offense has kind of struggled a little bit, specifically last week. But then also, too, to Drew's point, that Savannah State and Fort Valley State game, that's definitely one that I kind of had on my radar to kind of watch a little bit more closely. And then one that a lot of people aren't maybe going to watch a lot, but considering they have some momentum, got to give Drew a little credit here with Morehouse. Granted, they won 2 straight. If they can win a 3rd straight, granted it's lame, but at the same time, it'll be good to see them win 3 straight.
Yeah, 3 straight, regardless who it is, you win 3 straight, you can at least have people pause. Then they might look closer and see who you're playing. But everybody can't win 3 straight no matter who they're playing. So credit to the Maroon Tigers getting it done. It'd be interesting to see, can they get 3 of them, 3 W's in a row. With that being said, let's call it a close. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, come from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. This week we had in here doing it and giving us the most with Wilton Jackson II, AD Drew. Drew, when is the last time they won 4 straight You gonna have to go
Look.
way in the record books to try to answer.
I can tell you 3 straight was 2021. I didn't look. You don't want to look too far ahead. So let us get this dub Saturday, Jamie. Then I will look that up and make sure it's part of the recap. How about that?
Yeah, that's right, Drew. Don't be part of the jinx. Jamie doing all that. I know he's another D2 expert. Let the games be played, Jamie. Again, we want to thank you. Shout out to Jamie Walker. Want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Look for us on Sunday at 9 a.m. as we unveil, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season. It just seems like we started the other day. Man, my goodness. Major Division releases on Sunday. WSSU Ram Nation says what? Yeah, much love to you, Jamie. Keep up the good work. And 8-9-3. Oh, damn. Why he gonna
Steve get
personal? Everybody else got to be loose. Man, be nice. We look forward to next Thursday. This upcoming Thursday, as we get into homecoming from Texas Southern University, I will be back to make sure we welcome all the Tigers to campus, college education. We want to celebrate you in terms of homecoming 2025. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Wilton.
Lecture.
AD.
Homecoming, not homegoing, y'all. Dismissed.
True.